Hello and welcome to NDTV 24/7. I'm Rohit Wellington. Let's begin with our top story. Prime Minister Modi on Tuesday inaugurated Purvanchal Expressway in Uttar Pradesh with a political rally and an Indian Air Force air display. The 340-kilometer expressway has been built at a cost of 22,500 crore rupees. The Prime Minister landed on the expressway in Air Force's C-130J Super Hercules. There was landing by Mirage 2000. Sukhoi and Jaguar jets were also part of the air display at the inauguration of the expressway.
तीन रंग देश की आन बान शान के प्रतीक हमें तिरंगे झंडे की याद दिलाते हैं। सज्जनों, ये था मिराज 2000।
Indian Air Force fighter jets touching down on the Purvanchal Expressway. Minutes after Prime Minister Modi inaugurated the 341-kilometer long road, the showpiece project of the Adityanath government, months before Uttar Pradesh's crucial state election. The expressway connects state capital Lucknow to Ghazipur in eastern UP. The Bihar border is 20 kilometers away. The expressway cost 22,500 crore rupees and took 3 years to build. Thousands of people gathered near the rally ground to watch this air show that was put up by jets of the Indian Air Force. This, of course, was after the Prime Minister gave a 30 to 40 minute speech here in Uttar Pradesh's Sultanpur. Even though this was a government event organized by the agency which built the highway, crowds had been brought in for a political style rally, with the Prime Minister blasting the opposition.
यहाँ सड़कों पर राह नहीं होती थी, राह जनी होती थी। पूरब के लोगों के लिए लखनऊ पहुंचना भी महाभारत जीतने जैसा होता था।
The political attack was preceded by Samajwadi Party chief Akhilesh Yadav tweeting this photograph, claiming the foundation stone for the project was laid in 2016 when he was chief minister, and that the project was designed during his government's rule. The UP BJP had tweeted back this jibe, asking Akhilesh why he hadn't taken credit even for the Ram temple construction.
आज तक भी समाजवादी पार्टी के बनाए हुए कामों का ही उद्घाटन हो रहा है। तमाम काम मुख्यमंत्री जी वही कर रहे हैं जिनका शिलान्यास काम शुरुआत समाजवादी सरकार में हुआ था।
जो अपने समय में असफल रहे, वो योगी जी की सफलता भी नहीं देख पा रहे हैं।
A bigger controversy. Why was public money spent on a quasi-political event? Hundreds of UP government buses brought crowds to the function. Those who travelled on the buses say village pradhans urged them to attend the event. One point of contention between the government and opposition parties is the use of government buses to ferry people. I'm standing on the roof of a UP SRTC bus, which is a government bus here, to show you these shots of a sea of buses here who are ferrying people to the rally. 95% of these buses are UP government buses. For instance, this bus that Rajesh will just pan and show you to this side perhaps, or this one here. They are all UP government buses. आप लोग इसी बसों में बैठ के आए हैं?
हाँ, बसों में बैठ के आए हैं।
कोई प्रचार हुआ था आपके गांव में कि आपको आना है या?
हाँ, ब्लॉक जरिए प्लस प्रधान के जरिए हमें सूचना मिली थी।
हम आशा बहू हैं।
अच्छा, आशा बहू जी।
तो
आप इन लोग को लेके आई हैं?
नहीं, हम लेकर नहीं आए, हम
अकेले आए
के साथ नहीं। ये लोग साथ में हैं, लेकिन हमको कोई सूचना नहीं थी, इसलिए प्रधान भी द्वारा नहीं था। हम अपने आप आए हैं।
The mass recruitment of government buses for the rally meant hardly any were available to commuters in government bus stations in nearby towns like Varanasi and Ayodhya.
मैं इलाहाबाद जाना है मुझे और मैं सुबह 7:30 बजे से खड़ा हूँ, 9:30 बज चुका है। लेकिन अभी तक जो है कोई बस नहीं यहाँ रोडवेज पे है न कहीं से आ रही है।
यहाँ पर कोई गाड़ी नहीं है, सुबह से खड़े हैं और हमको बनारस जाना है।
Controversy apart, the expressway is expected to improve connectivity vastly to the state's underdeveloped eastern region. With Ashok and camera person Rajesh Gupta, this is Alok Pandey, NDTV.
The other big story, after being pulled up by the Supreme Court on Monday, the centre called for a meeting of its Commission for Air Quality Management. In attendance were all senior officers from Delhi and neighbouring states, as well as police officials. The top court had asked them what emergency actions they are taking, including the option of a lockdown to cut air pollution. Commission sources say that they will submit their response to the Supreme Court on Wednesday, which will be hearing the case. Meanwhile, South Mumbai's air pollution is now as bad as parts of Delhi. You can see that in Colaba, the air quality index at 363, and Lodi Road, it was 365. At Mazagaon, 327. Chandni Chowk was 329. So near about the same pollution in Mumbai as parts of Delhi. In Delhi's neighbouring Punjab, farm fires are at a record high in the last 5 years. The farmers say they have no choice but to burn the paddy residue. Year after year, why is there no solution to this problem? Mohammad Ghazali tries to find out.
There have been more stubble burning incidents in Punjab than in the last 5 years, according to an estimate by a NASA scientist. On the ground, a marginal farmer, Gurmail Singh in Moga district, is one of them and explains why there are more fires.
ਵੀਰ ਜੀ ਪਰਾਲੀ ਤੇ ਆਉਂ ਆ ਅਸੀਂ ਨਿੱਕੇ ਜ਼ਿਮੀਂਦਾਰ ਕਿੰਨੀ ਜ਼ਮੀਨ ਪਰਾਲੀ 2 ਏਕੜ ਆ ਪਰਾਲੀ ਜਾਲਣਾ ਸਾਡਾ ਮਜਬੂਰੀ ਆ ਕੋਈ ਸ਼ੌਂਕ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਕਿ ਨਾ ਦਾ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਡੀਜ਼ਲ ਦਾ ਖਰਚਾ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਪੂਰਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਤਾਂ ਹਜੇ ਕੰਮ ਨਿਕਲਦਾ ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਪਰਾਲੀ ਬਾਲਣ ਨੂੰ ਮਜਬੂਰ ਆ
1 एकड़ जमीन को चावल काटना होता है, धान की कटाई होती है, तो 1 एकड़ में ट्रैक्टर का कितना तेल लगता है?
20 लीटर तेल लगता।
और अगर इसी 1 एकड़ में पराली साफ करना हो ट्रैक्टर या मशीन लगा के तो कितना तेल लगता है?
20 लीटर फिर लगेगा, 40 होगा।
The main reason remains the hurry to clear the stubble for the sowing of the next crop. But higher costs of diesel and the fertilizer shortage in some parts means it's become harder to pay the 5,000 rupees or so that Gurmail Singh would need for the machines. That's a lot from his expected earning of about 62,000. So, burning is economical. Another farmer, Harvinder Singh, explains why the government subsidized machines are not enough.
ਹੁਣ ਉਹ ਹਫਤਾ ਜੇ ਸਾਰਾ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਦੀਆਂ ਦਿੱਤੀਆਂ ਹੋਈਆਂ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਮਸ਼ੀਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਲਈਏ ਉਹ ਫਿਰ ਹਫਤਾ ਤਾਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਵੀ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਲੰਘ ਜੂਗਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਵਾਹਨ ਫੇਰ ਸੁੱਕ ਜੂ ਉਸ ਮਸ਼ੀਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਜੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਕਹਿ ਦਈਏ ਕਿ ਆਸ਼ਾ ਟਰੈਕਟਰ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਉਹ ਖਿੱਚ ਲੂਗਾ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਖਿੱਚ ਲੂਗਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਖਿੱਚ ਸਕਦਾ
Both the centre and the state say that the number of machines has increased this year, and at a time when the politicians in power, regardless of party, should have devised a bipartisan solution, they are blaming each other.
देखिए जब दिल्ली में इलेक्शन थी तो इन्होंने ये कहना शुरू किया था कि ये पोल्यूशन जो है और उन्होंने बहुत बड़ा मुद्दा भी बनाया था उस समय इलेक्शन में मुझे याद है कोई भी ऐसा पोल्यूशन पंजाब में दिखाई नहीं दे रहा
Across Punjab the farmers have just one response. It is our compulsion, that's why we are burning the paddy residue, and they urge the government to incentivize this paddy residue or give cash in their hands so that they can hire labourers to clear this field. With Tanmo in Moga, Mohammad Ghazali for NDTV.
To Jammu and Kashmir now, where 4 persons including 2 businessmen have been killed during an anti-terrorist operation by security in Srinagar. Police said that 2 terrorists were killed in the operation and the killed businessmen were terrorist supporters. The families allege that businessmen have been killed in cold blood by security forces, but police insist that both of them were either killed in terrorist firing or killed during the crossfire. Nazir Masoodi reports.
In Srinagar, Dr. Mudassir Gul's family in mourning. They allege the police killed the dental surgeon cum businessman during an encounter and then buried him 100 kilometers away. However, the police allege that the 2 businessmen were terror supporters and were killed either by terrorists or during the crossfire.
बिस्किट लाया था, ये लाया था, वो खुश हो गया। हमारा बाबा आया था, फिर वो ऑफिस चला गया, ऑफिस में एनकाउंटर हुआ। इसने क्या किया था? क्या किया था?
बॉडी वापस करो, ये बेचारा अपना बिजनेस कर रहा
है। हम लोगों को लॉ एंड ऑर्डर होने का अंदेशा था, इसलिए हम लोग बॉडी घर वाले को नहीं दिए, उसको हंदवाड़ा डिस्ट्रिक्ट ले गए। वहाँ आज मॉर्निंग में उनका विडियो हो गया।
The police claim Dr. Gul sheltered terrorists and transported a terrorist who attacked a police party on Sunday in Srinagar. The family contested the police claim, saying Dr. Mudassir was out of Kashmir and returned on Monday morning. The anti-terrorist operation was launched inside a commercial complex at Hyderpura bypass in Srinagar on Monday evening. The family alleged that businessman and complex owner Muhammad Altaf Bhatt was killed in cold blood.
वहाँ जो डॉक्टर जो शहीद हो गए हैं, जो वहाँ पे थे, जो गवाह थे उस मौके के, उनको भी शहीद किया गया है। अब मैं आप लोगों को यही एक अपील कर रही हूँ कि प्लीज मेरे पापा की डेड बॉडी वापस कीजिए, वो मान नहीं रहे।
Police say 2 terrorists have been killed during the operation and 2 pistols have been recovered. The locals say that one of them was working as a peon in the commercial complex.
एनकाउंटर में 2 टेररिस्ट मारे गए। एक का बिलाल भाई कहते हैं, कोर्ट को हैदर भी बोलता है, बहुत बड़ी ये पाकिस्तानी टेररिस्ट है। दूसरा लोकल टेररिस्ट है, शायद ये रामपाट बनियान साइड का है, उनके घर वाले को बुला रहे हैं।
All the political parties have denounced killings and demanded an impartial probe. While police say both the businessmen were terror supporters, the families demand justice. The least they want is return of dead bodies of Dr. Mudassir and Altaf Bhatt so that they can perform their last rites. In Srinagar, Nazir Masoodi for NDTV.
In some other news, Tata Consultancy Services has asked its employees to return to offices in preparation for the IT major's 25-25 model, which is expected to be implemented by the year 2025. The company has said that under the new model, by 2025, no more than 25% of employees will need to work from the office at any given point and will not need to spend more than 25% of their time in office.
A fresh work model is in sight, at least for tech professionals. India's largest IT firm, TCS, has called its workers back to their deployed office locations in a flexible and phased manner, beginning December. Another, Tech Mahindra, is allowing employees to choose their work location only till December as of now. But after this return, TCS is already working towards a hybrid model, what it calls the 25-25 model. This means that by 2025, only 25% of its workforce will be in office. The rest, 3 out of 4, will be work from home. A spokesperson says hybrid models of work are here to stay. This Hyderabad couple agrees.
Work from home is a thing that's going to continue for a long while. It's economical for all. It's convenient for the employee. Flexibility is there. Travel time, we save on travel time. Related costs also. Health is good. We are with the family also. We work and saves a lot for the company, as I said earlier.
Hybrid model is definitely far more welcoming. It's a more welcoming thought than having to continue for work from home for, forever, for eternity. I mean, I don't think that's really good for the mental health. Also, hybrid, yes, definitely, that's the way to go.
As per the latest return to workplace survey by IT industry body NASSCOM, both employees and employers are equally interested in returning to work in a hybrid setup, and around 50% of the workforce is likely to return to office for up to 3 days a week starting next year. With Uma Sudhir, Sakshi Bajaj for NDTV.
Meanwhile, according to a new report by Bloomberg, China is now the world's richest nation ahead of the United States. The report says that China accounted for almost 1/3 of the world's net worth increase. China's net worth increased by $113 trillion between 2000 and 2010. It's the biggest net increase in 2 decades, ahead of the United States. India, meanwhile, is not in the top 10 nations ranked. Welcome back. A school teacher has been arrested after a class 12 student died by suicide in Coimbatore. The teen was allegedly sexually assaulted by the teacher earlier this year. Sam Daniel has this report.
A 31-year-old physics teacher has been arrested in Coimbatore after the death by suicide on Thursday of a 12th class student who he allegedly assaulted sexually earlier this year. There was public outcry after WhatsApp chats and an audio conversation that NDTV could not independently verify went viral, suggesting sexual abuse of 2 other girls by the same teacher. The police have also detained the headmistress of the private school for not acting on the girl's complaint under the law to prevent sexual offences against children.
And I think this is what schools need to realize, that it's not a reflection of the school. The way they address the abuse once it is disclosed or once it's reported to them, that is a reflection of the school.
In a statement, Chief Minister M.K. Stalin has said, perversion of a few has snatched away a student's life. Schools ought to ensure there is no sexual harassment. We would present the perpetrators before law and ensure women's safety. Every time a case of an abuse in a school comes up, it's a realization that measures put in place to ensure sexual safety, reporting and stringent action against alleged perpetrators have failed. And this time, it has cost a student's life. In Chennai with Suresh, Sam Daniel, for NDTV.
In some other news, the number of Indian students studying in the United States has dropped by 13% according to a new report. The US has seen less than 5% foreign students after a gap of 7 years. Uma Sudhir has this report.
It was a huge rush at the International Vaccination Center in Hyderabad when in June this year, the government decided to prioritize foreign-bound students to be given the COVID vaccine. Over 1,67,000 students from India went to study in the US in the COVID year of 2020-21. That is a dip of 13% from the previous year, though the US was still the top choice for Indian students.
Of course, the journey to a classroom in America is not always an intuitive process. That's why we organize International Education Week each year. And that's why we have the United States-India Educational Foundation in Hyderabad working full-time to serve you.
The COVID year saw a 15% fall in annual overall international students enrollment in the US to a 7-year low of 9.14 lakh students, falling below 5% of students on campus. After the Chinese, Indians constitute the second largest cohort of international students in the US. 1 in every 5 of them is in fact an Indian, and 30 to 40% of them are from the Telugu states. In Hyderabad with camera person Nagaraju, Uma Sudhir, NDTV.